This is the Leo Clamaco podcast.
I think he wanted to make sure I knew who the boss was. He had to assert himself.
Another bully.
Yeah. And so he wanted to assert himself because also in Kyokushin, especially in those days, you were taught that you fight. Doesn't matter who's in front of you. You know, there's no such thing as really taking it easy. You know, you
Right.
got to give the guy a hard time.
Right.
And you got to make sure the guy knows he wants to be here. You know, nobody's going to hold his hand.
Right.
I think that was the mentality. At the time, it was really, you couldn't do what you did then now. It just doesn't work.
No.
But that was an introduction. But again, it was the idea that, you know what, I'm going to be better than this guy who's supposed to be among the better ones here.
Between these two bullies, what drives you? What gives you that catapult to say, I'm gonna take boxing, I'm gonna learn to fight, I'm gonna be better, I'm gonna practice 4 years to make sure I get this guy? What drives you?
I think, well, I'll start with this. I think that's what drives me. I started by telling the story about my father and
Yes.
some of the hardships he had. Well, I can tell you that I grew up and I would see my father sometimes, I don't know, 11 o'clock, midnight. Now, we also had this thing where you don't eat if dad is not there. You don't have supper. We don't have supper without dad. He's got to be home. Unless he's traveling elsewhere,
Right.
we wait until he gets home, then we eat. So if he
Wow.
gets home at 7, we eat at 7. He gets home at 10, we eat at 10. He gets home at midnight, we eat at midnight.
Was that your mom's rule or your dad's rule?
No, that was
the house
I don't
rule.
know whose rule it was. All I know is nobody ever questioned it.
Got it.
We knew we ate so he was a very powering figure.
Yes.
At the table, he was an incredible storyteller. So at the table, we always had stories. We always had a message that was given to us. So we learned through storytelling. We learned through real things also that would
incredible.
happen
Yeah.
that he would recount to us. His experiences, his parents' experiences, the experiences of day to day that was taking place. And seeing him work so hard, knowing that we had this kind of structure that said, you know, no matter what, this is what you got to do. You have an obligation. Every Saturday, I had to clean the house. My task, the three of us, we had a task. My task was to vacuum the entire house, up, down, middle, everywhere. We had chores. At the age of 12, I started working. Those things, those experiences led me to think that you've got to work hard in life. And there's no shortcut.
Right.
If you want to succeed, you've got to put in the time, you've got to work, you've got to be diligent, and you can't take your eyes off your goal. So you've got to have whatever that objective is for the day, for the year, you have to stick to it. No shortcut. So I grew up with the thinking that there's no shortcut in life, and you got to work hard, and you got
What
to
a great message.
be persistent in what you do, and you got to believe in yourself.
Yes.
So my message at home was always one of belief that you had to succeed. You got to study. Studying was very important to us because, especially in Caribbean countries, we believe that the way out is by studying.
Yes.
It really is when I came here much, much later in life, much later, that I realized, wait a minute, there's another path to success than studying and
Right.
going to college. But we didn't grow up with that mindset. That mindset is particular to the United States, I find. And that's
Yes.
why you have so many success stories,
Right.
because they allow for individuals with different mindsets to succeed, to explore their beliefs, their ideals, and implement those ideas. So it was a great learning experience late in life that was a possibility. But what drives me is the belief that I have to be the best at what I do. So it wasn't the story about boxing, about the bullies, was not really a story of beating the other guy.
Right.
It was the story of I'm better than the other person. Not because I'm a better human being, but I can perform better. I can do better. So what's the best that I can achieve so that I can attain the position that I want, which is respect, which is a continuing affirmation of who I am, what I stand for, what I believe, and standing up to those principles regardless of the work that has to be done to get there. So the work ethic is critical to me. And I think that's what drives me. A strong sense of work ethic, a strong belief that I must succeed, and the determination that if I can impart into others knowledge, information that I've acquired that will help them, then I want to do that. I want to help.
And just to let you know, that has always been felt. Always. I think from the moment I met you, I can at 9 years old, I can feel that energy from you. That energy of I'm never giving up. It's me against me, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to accomplish my dreams. And I feel like you've passed that on to me.
Oh,
Seriously, I don't think you were the first entrepreneur I ever met. You were the first leader I ever met. And I was so infatuated by it. I was so awed by it. And I just wanted to learn, and I wanted to understand what it is to have that mindset, what it is to be this unstoppable force that is able to accomplish whatever he wants. And I've always seen that in you, and I've always been grateful that I've been blessed to grow up around you and to be able to have you as a teacher.
well, thank you. That's really very kind. I'll tell you, you and some of the other young lions at the time, Mustafa, Chris, who I'm so fond of, Caesar. I mean, that group was, it was the group of adolescents that brought the most to me. So the sentiments were shared. There was a chemistry there
Yeah.
that was exceptional because it was a group that was fertile for learning, that was hungry for learning, hungry to do,
Yes.
and hungry to perform, hungry to improve. And it was interesting because, sometimes you have one or two in the group, but you don't have 4, 5.
The whole group.
If you get 6, 7, I mean, you've hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
Because you don't get that.
Right.
So I was in a really incredible place to really have all the energy in me to give everything that I could. And every single day was a joy. It was not a chore. It was really a joy. I look forward to it. And I look forward to see what else you would do? How far would you guys go? And it was really amazing to see that at a time when a lot of adolescents were doing other things
Yeah.
and losing focus, losing even their way, compromising their youth, that the group was so centered. And I remember in conversations, I would sometimes say, look, you've got to make sure that you continue this relationship long after you graduate from here.
Yeah.
And so when we spoke recently, I asked you about some of those individuals, and you told me I was still in contact. And that really was, for me, is the success story. It's the success story because not only because of where you are in your life, but you are able to cultivate and maintain a relationship
Yes.
from childhood, something that is really so rare. You know,
And
if you
difficult.
talk to people and you ask them, how many friends do you have? And they'll tell you, I have so and so, so and so, and so. And they're mainly acquaintances.
Right.
They're really not friends, they're acquaintances.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my father used to say, if you grow up in life and you have one person that you can call a friend, but a true friend,
Right.